What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN USD. Hit that like button, subscribe, and thank you all for being here. It is the 18th day of March, and while we are moving down, we had a little bit of excitement. We went back above 0061. While we are moving down, and that's not exciting in itself, the exciting thing here that we should note is that OnyxCoin is only down 1.5%. while Bitcoin itself is down 2.7%, almost double what OnyxCoin is down. So OnyxCoin clearly showing some resilience here. That's awesome. That's what we want to see. That's really good. It's not ideal to be below these highs, right? It's not ideal. But again, there's a little bit of flexibility here because we do have such a low volume, low liquid, low market cap coin, right? The rules aren't as rigid. In fact, it might be more important instead of focusing on the wicking points as areas of significance, to focus on the closing prices as areas of significance, right? And that also goes for this, right? We could wick through, but as long as we're closing at this line or higher, I think that looks really good. And if we do close below it, that's not ideal, but I would think really we just don't want to close below 00554. As long as we're closing above there, I think that things are still in, there's still a chance that we could be in this breakout phase. But if we do close below this high, I would imagine that we do come back down, probably to fill this gap on the 1 hour that we identified yesterday. And that gap is down here at about 00515, and maybe just a little bit lower. We could go a little bit below 005. I don't know if we go below 005 actually. I wouldn't expect that. Anyways, another positive here on this drop being so minor is that, or I guess it's minor, but also it's kind of like fierce right here, is that there's not a whole lot of volume. Like, relatively speaking, in this little consolidation phase, we are making a move down, we are proceeding lower, but the volume's not picking up. That's good. That's another good thing. So just making me think further that we are further consolidating, which it looks like we are in this bull flag here, and we probably do break out to the upside. That's the expectation, at least, that I have. I don't know if I would actually call this a bull flag, right? Let's see. Let's look at it on a 4-hour time frame. I think it's a bull flag, yeah. But if it forms, if it's too much longer, it might not be a bull flag. You know what I mean? That's just too long for this base that we have here. And I don't think this whole thing is the flagpole. I think just this part would be the flagpole. Looking back at the 1-hour time frame, looking at the RSI, we are at the oversold area. There is a baby crying. If you guys hear that, it's a wonderful thing, actually. We've got these low areas here in the oversold area that we typically have been finding support. When we get overbought, we're getting real deep. When we're getting oversold, it's very, very minimal. And sometimes we even miss the oversold zone, and we don't stay down here for long. So, in other words, being at the low ends of this kind of range, being at the low ends of our RSI and the stochastics, I think we might be due for a little bit of a bouncy poo. We might be coming back up to this 006 level or even above there. And if and when we do break through this trend, that's when things get a lot more exciting. Now, some of you might be hearing this and thinking, okay, that's not what I meant to do. Some of you might be hearing this and thinking, well, how are we going to break through this trend? Bitcoin's moving down. You expect it to go lower. How can Bitcoin move lower and then this thing breaks out to the upside? Well, we've seen it happen before. That's how. We've got the Goliath mainnet news being released on the 27th, and the reality is, even though Bitcoin is moving down right now, it's really not. It's just moving sideways, like it has been since February. It's just moving sideways. That's all that we're doing. We're just in the same range. And in these consolidation ranges, these are the times when altcoins typically fly, if they want to. It's not whenever Bitcoin's breaking out to the downside. It's not when Bitcoin's breaking out to the upside that altcoins fly. It's typically in these consolidation phases. So I really do believe that we could see a breakout. I mean, as early as today. It could be as early as today. That's not my call. I'm just saying, don't take that out of your mind. Just because Bitcoin's moving down doesn't mean that this thing has to crash through the floor either. It could. Anything could happen. Again, there is a chance that we do go down to around 005, 00515, somewhere in that area, and we should be apprehensive to that, but I'm not really worried about it one way or another. 1 hour RSI, stochastics, MACD, they don't look good, but at the same time, we're kind of at the areas that we expect to find support. Price action, also same kind of context there. So that's my thoughts. 4 hour time frame, we're looking at this. We are right at prior areas of resistance, right at prior areas of closing resistance on the 4-hour. We are dropping, and there's not a whole lot of volume. I mean, this volume profile here, what we're doing, it's very indicative that we are consolidating, that we're in a consolidation phase. If we're moving up, we consolidate down. My expectation is we move up again. And here's the nice thing. Let's imagine that we do go down here. My assumption would be that we don't just break out to the downside and go down there. We'd probably break out to the upside, get a false breakout, a fake out. We'd double top, and then we'd come down. There would be signs that we are going to go lower than these lows from higher prices. That's kind of comforting, at least to me it is. There might not be signs. There might be, we get up here, we might be flourishing, and if we flourish, I mean, when OnyxCoin moves, man, it likes to move fast, so we could very well be at 1 cent, by the end of this week, by the end of next week. You never know. Things can happen like that with this thing. 4-hour time frame, the RSI here. It's also at this area that we've been holding as support, at least, since like the past week or so. We could go a little bit lower. It does seem, what it does seem like is that we have actually broken this trend that we've been upholding for a long time. I would say we have. I would say that we have, yeah. So that's not encouraging. This could detail that we have more downside to go. Just because we've broken out of that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to go down right now, but typically that's not encouraging. These stochastics are oversold. The orange line's about to get oversold, so that would promote the idea that we go a little bit lower as well. The MACD is bullish, but we can go lower and find support at the 0 line before moving higher again. So, bouncing here maybe, but if we bounce here, it's probably not going to be dramatic, and we probably do proceed lower. Okay, so get used to that. Probably over the coming days, I would not expect that OnyxCoin is breaking out. It's possible. Everything that I just said is still a very realistic possibility. It can happen like that any moment. But if I had to guess, I would think that we do kind of work our way back down a little bit lower. That doesn't mean that we're going all the way down here, but that 1-hour gap is there, so keep that in mind as well. Higher lows are the real thing that we want to preserve, okay? If the difference between getting from this price to getting to prices up here is that instead of expecting it to be like this, we have to be patient, and it takes a longer time, I'm willing to be patient. I don't know about you guys, but I'm willing to be patient. It's not a big deal, just as long as we're holding higher lows. Daily time frame, and ideally, I mean, realistically, I don't expect that we're going to see this because Goliath comes out literally on the 27th. So I would think that we will see some recovery going into next week at the very least. Daily time frame here, rejecting the overbought area. That's fine. We can find support here, which I doubt, or we can go a little bit lower to the 50, find support there. Stochastics rejecting the overbought zone. Each time we did this, we got oversold. Might we do that? Makes sense. And then again, maybe next week we could try again. And then the MACD here has crossed above the 0 on the daily time frame. We have got the cross above the 0. We're not getting the reaction that we want. So this could be an area of which we find resistance. It's okay to find a little turbulence here and then break out later. What we don't want to see is a rejection. We don't want something like this. We don't. That's not what we want. That would be bad. Okay. If over the coming week we start to see the MACD pointing down and it's looking like we're rejecting this level, we might expect to see lower lows. Okay. Consolidation is fine. Rejection is not. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. I feel like there was something that I wanted to talk about, and I just can't remember what it was, but that's fine. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. The overall expectation for OnyxCoin, at least on my behalf, is that we will go to... Why does this keep happening? Why do I keep pulling this up? That's like the 3rd time in the last 10 minutes. My expectation is that we will see something, at a minimum of 1.7 cents, potentially to a maximum of 2.5 cents. In April, maybe May, something like that. That's the expectation there. Could it be by the end of this month? Could it be by the launch of Goliath? Absolutely, it could. Absolutely. I mean, this thing doesn't need much time to make some moves like that. But I'm thinking more, next month, maybe the month after, that we're up in this area. We should see some excitement going into the end of this month, but it might take time to get up to this area. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Prior points of resistance and support right there at our fib extensions. It makes sense to me. Bye-bye. See you later.